Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the world of RaceFace.Pro. My name is Stephen Koenig, glad to have you guys here, and welcome to the beautiful circuit of Watkins Glen, where we're about to see some of the great racing here for the RaceFace.Pro IndyCar Sprint Series. And yes, we're back to the single series. This is round 5 here at the IndyCars, and welcome to Watkins Glen. That is missing the boot. So we won't have that bus stop, the boot, or in other words, called the boot. The drivers will go and have a huge amount of fun here at Watkins Glen. It's going to be a bit of a wild one, and drivers are going to have to really push themselves through it all. A long straight for a lot of slipstreaming and a lot of capabilities to use that push to pass in the Indy cars that can really stack you up against the field. So lots and lots of interesting moments. Let's take a look towards our points before we kick off tonight's race, because it is going to be a bit of a close one. We do have quite a variety here. We have got our pros and proms racing together like always, going and showing off what they can do. It's going to be incredible to see the charge. So let's start off with our pros leading into this race, and it is Johan Verree leading at the top of the charts, followed by Troy Dolenchik in second place, Jens van Rensburg, Alex Moore, Luca Logovic, Noah Hendricks, Malcolm Pringle in 7th, Luke Lucchesi down in 8th, Timothy Stanton, Doug Herber, Paul Herber, along with Ryan Ottens, Raymond Duggan, Willem Buerta, Sead Vawa, Gerald Verree, Leighton Verree, Peter Meyer a little bit further down in 32nd position. 19th is Yuri Umpi Swart, followed by Jeff Hancox, rounding out our top 20. Moving on to our Pro-Ams though, we will have our Pro-Ams go out. There we go. And that is going to be first to the top of the chart, Sean Sims, followed by Robbie Teens, Brandon Robert, Werner Swart, Stephen Kutzer, Ruan Dutoy, Leon Vessels, Etienne Swart, Paul Webber, Tennis Pogita, Peter van der Spey, Veynon Kersop down in 12th position, Roland Ferrer, Gareth Brits, Dino Machan, Alexander Ringer, along with Francois Dutoy, and Malcolm Pringle are rounding out our pack. So much is going on, and so many wild moments for our racers to be able to launch their way up to the sharp end of the field. So keep an eye on it. It's going to be a wild one. It's going to be an excellent one, and we welcome you here. So qualifying is underway at the moment with Luca Logovic leading out the pack with Jens van Rensburg in second place. Johan Verree down in third, followed by Troy Dolenchik, Raymond Duggan going to be fighting it out as well. Alex Moore, a little bit further down, is trying to make up some time. He is lying in 6th position. First in his class, though, might I add. So that is going to help him out. Paul Herber down in 7th. 8th position, Rowan Dutoy, followed by Leon Vessels, Brandon Roberts. Luke Lucchesi, a little bit further down in 11th position. Robbie Teens, Paul Webber, along with Malcolm Pringle, a little bit further down. Francois Dutoy, Etienne Swart, Dino Machai, along with Tiernas Borgita, John Stewart, I do apologize, a new driver to the grid, and having his debut run. Veynon Kersop out on the track, looking to push himself a little bit more as he charges through, followed by Ryan Otten, Stephen Kutzer, Noah Hendricks, and Sean Sims. Out in the front, though, has to go to Luca Logovic, who is on an absolute blistering moment right now. Dino Machai fast in 2 sectors. Malcolm Pringle down in 14th position is up in multiple sectors. He's trying to make his way through, and Malcolm Pringle going to be hammering it down, and unfortunately not enough to put him into the top 10, but does move him into 12th as our drivers are looking to go and capitalize on those major runs and having to put in the best lap times of the race. But you can already see 125, 126s seem to be the running order of the pack, and that's exactly where you want it to be. Dutoy moving a little bit further up, and that is going to be a big help for Stephen Francois Dutoy. We always call him Francois Dutoy. His actually full name is Stephen Francois Dutoy. Sorry, I'm not using the full name, bud, but man, oh man, that's a mouthful. So, Francois Dutoy, you're going and having a huge amount of fun out there, which is going to be fantastic. Sorry, Francois Dutoy is going to be really pushing himself to the limit. Luka Logovic, though, all the way out from overseas, now going and trying to keep himself all in order and hoping to get a little bit more run. Unfortunately, that's not going to be enough for him. It's going to pull into the pits, and then we have got so much to go and battle the way out. Jean van Rensburg, along with Johan Fourie, Troy Dolenchik, all trying to get their run through the order. And it is going to be a bit of a wild style for everyone out there to really push themselves through. Raymond Duggan trying to get a little bit more pace as well. And we do have John Stewart. Jay Stewart's first name is Jude Stewart. Okay, right. So that's Jude. That's out there. We've got him as John. It's good to know that we're getting a bit of a perspective. Troy Dolenchik, though, couldn't quite get the jump and does go and run into third place. So, qualifying done and dusted, and we will be going to grid, folks. It's going to be loud, it's going to be proud. It's here for some IndyCar racing at Watkins Glen. So, leading out the pack will be the one and only Luka Logovic, looking to really break away early on. Alex Moore in second place from Logistical Nightmare Racing. Troy Dolenchik with Jens van Rensburg, Johan Fourie, Raymond Duggan, Ruan de Toy, Paul Gerber, Leon Wessels, Luke Lucchesi, Brandon Robert, Malcolm Pringle down in 12th. Going a little bit further down, Robbie Teens, Paul Webber, Veynon Cursor, Francois de Toy, Etienne Swart, Dina Machai, John Stewart, who we've also gone and found out it's actually Jude Stewart. That's there, so Jude Stewart. Also known as John Stewart on our screen. Then we got Tienes Borchita, Noah Hendricks, Ryan Ottens, Sean Sims, and Stephen Kutzer, with John Stewart going and jumping in to the grandstand. So I'm sure a bit of a relation there from one another. So going to be a bit of a wild one. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. And you can see how the field is stacked with drivers. But it's going to be about who is going to have the advantage here. One mandatory pit stop needed for these cars, and it is a tire change. You've got to be able to swap out the tires from the tires that you qualified on. So, got two sets of tires here in IndyCar, and you will see them out on the car. One is in red, and that is your soft compounds. Vaynon's favorite ones. His soft compounds, really knows how to utilize them, maintain the tires a little bit longer. Old Wobble doesn't worry about swerving anywhere with those sort of tires. And then we've got our white walls, which are the medium compounds or the harder compound, which allows for a longer run but less grip. So in qualifying, whatever you qualified on your tire, that is what you're going to be using off the bat. So we're going to be having a rolling start here at Watkins Glen. A little bit easier for a lot of these drivers just to carry that little bit of momentum through. Standing starts with an IndyCar, very, very difficult. Everyone are going to have to keep their eyes on the prize here. Alex Moore, though, looking to get a shot of Luka Logovic. And for the very first time here in RaceFace.Pro, we have got a lockout of first and second of non-South African drivers. Yes, you heard me right. Alex Moore and Luka Logovic, non-South African drivers, are leading out the pack. And that is first in history here at RaceFace.Pro. Fantastic to see it, especially in the iRacing side of things. But it does put pressure on Troy Dolenchik and Jens van Rensburg, who are running a little bit back. They're going to have to work with one another. Van Rensburg going and leading out for the team Slowpokes, hoping to get the early jump on it. And Troy Dolenchik, absolutely incredible single-seater driver that knows how to push the limit. But do not count out Johan Fourie in the Monsters car. He really knows where to put the car in and where to get him for a fight. Had some close moments. Even took Troy Dolenchik to the limit last race. That was actually not last race, 2 weeks prior. Not last race, but the race previous actually took him to the limit. So Johan Fourie is one to keep an eye out for. Raymond Duggan, also a very, very experienced driver. And, we've already got an accident at the back. And that was between the teammates of one another. So, unfortunately, huge impact for the back of the Slowpokes Racing. Who is that with a broken nose? It's not Tienes Borchita. Is that Dina Machai? It is! It's Dina with a smashed front and rear wing. And that was a self-collision with his own teammates. Definitely not the greatest way of doing it. Not the fun way of doing it, but it's going to be fantastic. Jumping into the grandstands, though, our very, very experienced GT3 driver, and I know he's actually going to be racing in the Fuji 8-hour coming this weekend as well, as Niall Bullion going in, putting in a bit of support for Alex Moore, going in saying, let's go, Alex, my son. This hammer it down. So Alex is going to be having a bit of fun out there, a bit of support from a fellow teammate, family member by the looks of it as well. But Niall, big shout out to to Lee as well. Hope he's doing well. Please let us know. And we got him in our thoughts and prayers, buddy. And then we got Butsev all the way out from the Ukraine, coming and jumping in as well. And great to see that the Autosport of Ukraine. Welcome. Know you guys are a big fan of the F4s. Well, the IRATs are just as much fun. Don't worry, you need to come and give it a try. So, we're going to have a bit of fun out here, and this is round 5. We're going to be lights on, lights off, and hammer it down. Luka Logovic and Alex Moore, locking out the front row, are going to have to work incredibly hard to try and keep it together and try and push their way to the sharp end of the field as everyone starts to make their way through. Francois Latour, Dino Machai, and Ryan Ottens are going to be starting from pit lane on this, and that is going to be desperately costly for them. So, Luka Logovic out in front is going to be very careful to get on the power early. Alex Moore lining up. It is Pro and Pro-Am, first and second. Lights on, green flag, and we are going racing, ladies and gentlemen. Troy Dolenchik putting the pressure on immediately onto the back of Luka Logovic. Tries to go for the inside line. He backed out of it, and that has allowed Troy Dolenchik to slip into that third place. But take a look at Alex Moore taking the fight straight to the front. The young driver going to really push as hard as he can. Can't quite get the jump. Luka Logovic across his nose. Troy Dolenchik now side by side. Can't really get past because there isn't really much room. Trying to make it 3 wide. Now it's going to be side by side. 4 likes of Luka Logovic and Alex Moore just trying to hang into the mix. It is straight line all the way, and unfortunately a bit of contact happening at the back, and guys, unfortunately breaking the noses. But Luka Logovic getting a run on Troy Dolenchik. They're going to battle it out, heading down into the corner. Luka losing out the momentum, and Alex Moore immediately puts his nose in, gets a run on him, and gets away. Jan Ferree a little bit further back though, trying to keep an eye on the rest of the field. Jean-Jans van Rensburg, followed by Luke Lucchesi, who's in for a fight, this time in the shell colours, going and having a great time out there. Then we have got Brandon Roberts with Paul Gerber right next to him. Paul Gerber feeling a little bit grey from the kids, but is fighting it out with Brandon Roberts. Leon Vessels hanging in the mix. Vainan Kersot pushing as hard as he can to try and get back into the fight with Malcolm Pringle doing everything he can to just hang on to the back. Steven Kutzer runs up on the inside. Paul Weber tried to get the run. The Batmobile, unfortunately, couldn't quite stick it. We'll have to be very careful on his run and see where the driver's going to be able to come out and battle their way through. So definitely going to be a tough time out there for all our top runners. But at the moment, Alex Moore leading out the pack overall and leading out his class has got Troy Dolenchik all onto the back of him. Luka Logovic trying to push up on the inside, push around the outside. Oh, he's broken the front nose up against Troy Dolenchik and Alex Moore, and that has going to cost him. When he gets into the pits, they're going to have to replace the nose. Alex Moore locking towards the inside line. It's no bus stop. It's straight line. It's all about power. Troy Dolenchik, though, is going to have the momentum around the outside. Sweeps across. Alex Moore comes off in second place. Luka Logovic trying to hang in there as much as he can. And you can see Van Rensburg fighting out Luke Lucchesi, who immediately dives up on the inside. Van Rensburg going and competing to try and hold the line. Unfortunately, couldn't quite do it. Paul Gerber immediately gets onto the tail with him, trying to move forward. We are getting some reports, though, of Sean Sims landing up with a bit of a problem. So let's try and take a look at what happened with Sean Sims. This is into a little bit of run, late braking contact ahead of him, and just getting caught out by his own teammate. He managed to avoid it, but at what cost to the tires and what cost to his positions towards the front. This is going to be a tough time out there, but at the moment, our top 3 now turning into a 2, as Alex Moore has got the run on Troy Dolenchik. Dolenchik trying to utilize that push to pass to help him down the straight line. Luke Lucchesi going for the attack on Luka Logovic. Looks on the inside now. Luke Lucchesi is on the harder compound tires here, which will help him out that little bit further later into the race. He'll try and push his way forward. Luka Logovic slips into the middle. Van Rensburg's going to try and go around the outside. Going to really give it horns here. Drops into the toe of Luke Lucchesi to try and pull himself along. And that's going to get away from Luka Logovic. Now Paul Gerber trying to have a good go. But he is side by side with Malcolm Pringle trying to make up some time. So Malcolm Pringle now needs to do everything he can, as we do see Raymond Duggan, who is trying to battle it out. He is at Number 10 car, no, he's not. Actually, he's a 171. Number 10 is Leon Vessels. I do apologize. So Leon Vessels onto the back of Paul Herber and carrying his momentum through. Luka Logovic now going a little bit defensive. Runs out wide, unfortunately, a little too wide there. Paul Herber's going to have the run on him. Looks on the inside. Can he carry the momentum? Little bit of a move under braking. And, oh, we nearly had contact between the slow pokes again. Malcolm Pringle nearly into the back of, Liam Vessels nearly into the back of Malcolm Pringle. This landed up with the two of them having a bit of a difficult time out there and losing out a lot of momentum. And they immediately have Stephen Kutzer. Oh, no, that's the Batmobile. Paul Webber into the wall, having that rear kick out underneath him and landed up smack bang in the wall. Unfortunately, major repairs needed when it gets back to the pits. But he's able to get a few spares and get going. John Stewart, a new driver, going and fighting it out here, and a new name to the grid. Fighting out against Robbie Teens, doing everything he can. Robbie Teens trying to show the DHL can run away. Got to say, a nice pallet swap between the two. But John, also known as Jude, trying to fight his way up and do everything he can to stay in for the fight. Fastest lap time of the race, though, has been set by Ryan Ottens of the Alpha 1 Esports, trying to make his way back up through the order. After starting at the back of the field, he is on a gentle climb all the way through on those soft compound tires. He's trying to get past Sean Sims and gets a little bit closer towards Tienes Porquita, who was trying to open up that gap a little bit more. Unfortunately, not enough to really break away. Troy Donalczyk still feeling pressure, and Alex Moore is really going and putting in the impact here. He does not want to lose out. He wants to keep pushing as hard as he can, and Troy Donalczyk utilizing all the circuit to just try and break away. I think both drivers going and pushing these soft tires a little. Well, Troy Donalczyk's actually on the harder compound tires, so it is going to run into his favor and not to the favor of Alex Moore at the moment. So he's got to be very, very cautious on that one. Stephen Kutzer onto the back of Luka Logovic now, trying to figure out where he can go by. Looks to the inside, looks to the outside, can't really get past just as yet. Going to have to wait it out just a fraction longer. Tries to go up on the inside. Can he get the momentum, though? Should be able to. Straight lining pretty easy. Luka Logovic tried coming back under braking. Unfortunately, lots of top-end loss happening with that nose being broken. Now, this is a fixed setup series, and it does mean the drivers have to kind of go through the motions at the moment. A little bit of an understeery car that they have to battle their way through. Leon Vessels in tow, right the way onto the back of Luke Logovic. Also going to have the advantage here. Tries to pull into the slipstream, swaps around, trying to look for his teammate. Unfortunately, not close enough to make an impact. Noah Hendricks also having a go at the likes of Etienne Swart. So Etienne Swart, the Altered Carbon Racing, trying to keep ahead of Noah Hendricks, who looks up on the inside. Couldn't quite get that pass sorted out. Runs out a little bit wide, and that is going to allow Ryan Ottens to start becoming a little bit more of a factor here. Luka Logovic onto the back of Leon Vessels, and unfortunately, that's not going to help him out. He's trying to keep into that slipstream to pull himself along. Is it going to be enough, though, to try underbraking? Very, very late underbrakes. Couldn't quite get it underfoot there, and now runs out a fraction too wide. Etienne Swart holding the inside line over Noah Hendricks at the moment. Noah Hendricks around the outside trying to carry the momentum, and take a look at Ryan Ottens. Ryan Ottens trying to insert himself into the battle. Noah Hendricks gets on by. Ryan having to lock the brakes, and now he is on the charge. Ryan Ottens now has an opportunity to score a position here, and he is on the climb at the moment. 8 positions up from where he started, but is pushing as hard as he can. Luka Logovic opting to go into the pits. Oh, a bit of a touch on the wall for Etienne Swart, and that is going to hurt the tires and hurt the suspension a little bit more. Ryan Ottens, though, tries to look for the inside line, backs out of it, though. Couldn't quite get it. Etienne Swart carrying a little bit more momentum, stays in for the fight, but we do have yellow flags for Brandon Roberts. What on earth happened to Brandon Roberts? So let's go and take a look. Brandon Roberts trying to make his way through. Did the rear snap? And yes, it did, unfortunately. The rear snapping out on him. Just tried leaning onto the tires a fraction too much and it didn't quite work. Ryan Ottens now getting around both Noah Hendricks and Etienne Swart. Now looks to carry on the momentum. Noah Hendricks losing out a bit of time immediately. Etienne Swart trying to capitalize on an early attack to make his way through. Troy Donalczyk checking out of the battle, out of Alex Moore, and trying to stay right away from him. Sean Sims and Tienes Porquita, they're running in tow with one another. It hasn't been the easiest of starts for the Slowpoke Racing. I think, unfortunately, for the team, getting a little bit of a naughty badge reward there for on the start going into the back of one another. and a very awkward time to be in the pits there. But they're still out on a charge, doing everything they can. Swart trying to look for that inside line on Noah Hendricks at the moment, try and pressurize him into a mistake as they make their way through. Pit stops starting to come in. Steven Kutzer, Leon Wessels into the pits, try and get those cars sorted out and serve their pit stops with the tire change. Now remember, they've got to swap compounds on these cars in the pits, so they've got to go from their soft compound to alternative, or alternative to soft compound at least once during the course of this race. It does become a bit of a tricky process. You've got to feel out when these cars are going to let go. They've got 30 minutes of racing or 30 laps that they're going to be doing, and that is going to make a bit of a difference. Luke Lucchesi in the shell-colored cars, going and fighting his way through, and Luke Lucchesi not hanging around at the moment. He is pressuring to try and close up the gap as fast as possible, and doing a fantastic job out there to just do it. And Etienne Swart all over the back of the gearbox of Noah Hendricks, who runs out wide, a little bit unsettled, getting towards the grass, had to do a slight lift on the moment, and a little bit more cautious. Luka Logovic now got to go side by side with Steven Kutzer, this time with a car that is all put together, and boots it past. And I think a little bit of push to pass may come into advantage here. In through the sweep, he's stuck on the outside. Steven Kutzer trying to run the way through, side by side they go. Absolutely magnificent. Both drivers going and showing off what they can do, but Steven Kutzer unfortunately having to yield, otherwise he would run into the dirt. Alex Moore now into the pits. Bit of a crucial moment for him as the rest of the field come on by. Now Alex Moore is going to be worrying about Malcolm Pringle, Robbie Teens as they make their way through, so keep an eye on that. That is going to be the monumental. So let's quickly take a look at where everyone is in their class respectively. Troy Dolnchik leading out the pros, Luke Lucchesi and Van Rensburg chasing each other down as they make their way through. So definitely one thing we need to really keep an eye on is how this is all going to develop during the course of the race. Jean Van Rensburg immediately trying to look for the inside line, can't really get the drive, does everything he can to try and boot his way around the course, doing everything to get a little bit more drive and get a little bit more momentum, but yellow flags being waved for Waynon Kersop. What on earth happened to Waynon Kersop? This is heading down into turn 1 and steps out a little bit over the curb, bottom the car out and smashing it to pieces. Not ideal run for him, and unfortunately that is major impact and needing some time back in the pits. So Waynon Kersop not having the easiest of drives on the start of the race. Unfortunately, when you go over the curbs here at Watkins Glen, especially in your low cars like single seaters and prototypes, you actually get it where the wheels don't really touch the ground. You lifting the whole thing up, it bottoms the car out, unsteadies it, and it will start to fishtail as it pivots underneath the car, and your tires losing that little bit of grip, that momentary loss, especially over these drivers are hitting at about 180 kilometers an hour, will land up in a wall of hurt. So definitely a tough time out there. Paul Webber landing up in a bit of an accident. Oh no, the Batmobile going off into the dirt and into the wall, spikes it across, and unfortunately not an easy time there. Something broke on the car, and that is pretty much him done and dusted. Luke Lucchesi trying to look up on the inside of Van Rensburg as we head back to the battle, and this is going to be a tough time out there. All drivers doing everything they can, but Luke Lucchesi not giving up the fight just as yet, as Van Rensburg is trying to get away. Both are in the pro class, so this is for class position and overall position as it stands. Sean Sims trying to keep up with Noah Hendricks, who gets on by. Etienne Swart also getting a climb. So it's going to be a monumental battle as they go through. Troy Dolnchik leading out the pack with Van Rensburg in second. Luke Lucchesi, Paul Ferber, Malcolm Pringle, Robbie Teens, John Swart, Stewart, along with Etienne Swart, Noah Hendricks, Sean Sims, Johan Ferree, Francois Dutoy, Alex Moore, Luka Logovic, Steven Kutzer, Leon Wessels, Raymond Duggan, Dino Machai, losing out of position to Ryan Ottens, who sends it up on the inside, gets that pass done and dusted. Tienas Porkita, Brandon Dutoy, Brandon Robert, Paul Webber, and Waynon Kersop, unfortunately out of the race by the looks of it. I know that they were doing a bit of work on the cars. We saw Waynon Kersop unfortunately sustaining a major impact to the car. Paul Webber also major impact to the car. He's going to have to try and work it out. Now this is first of two heats, ladies and gentlemen. We have two heats here in the IndyCar series, and this is heat 1. So if you don't get it right in heat 1, you have an opportunity in heat 2. Take a look at this. Luke Lucchese on the outside, once again trying to have a go at Van Rensburg. Van Rensburg trying to hold his line, dives up on the inside, trying everything he can. Luke Lucchese, though, goes and pushes to pass, immediately utilizing that little bit more power underneath foot and tries to break away. So a beautiful pass on the run, and now needs to really focus on the charge. Etienne Swart going defensive. Noah Hendricks on the back of him. Sean Sims is going to have a good go. Looks on the inside. Couldn't quite get it all sorted out. Going to wait it out that little bit longer as they try and power their way through. A little bit further back, though, Steven Kutzer having a good run at Luka Logovic, now trying to close down that gap. That is down the main straight, the back straight, and having a good time to just make it work. Raymond Duggan going to be doing exactly the same to Ryan Ottens as they power their way through every single one of these drivers, hoping to go that little bit more up the road. As we do take a look, our top 10 are yet to be in the pits, and that pretty much tells you the story. Remember, you've got to do those tire changes, and it is going to affect when you do it. So are you going to go to the halfway mark, 15 minutes? Or are you going to go a little bit further? We have seen drivers try unique and different things. Sean Sims and Jan Verrie starting to close the gap, and Jan Verrie not hanging about at the moment. He is on a climb. Remember, Jan Verrie's already done his pit stop early on and now has an opportunity as he's trying to straight line past Sean Sims. Sean going to try go around the outside. Couldn't quite get it all hooked in. Jan Verrie really going and utilizing the monster at the moment, trying to make his way through. Noah Hendricks is next on the target list here for Verrie, and he's going to pull Sean Sims along as they look to do battle once again. Van Rensburg trying to close up to Luke Lucchese, can't really make up that little bit of momentum, so tough time out there. Jan Verrie keeping close to Noah Hendricks as they keep in the slipstream. Etienne Swart punching a hole in the air for the likes of Noah Hendricks, and that is helping him along at the moment. But Noah Hendricks is going to have to get elbows out. Jan Verrie trying to look for the inside line, couldn't quite get it past, really doing everything he can. And it is turning into a monstrous battle. And taking a look to our virtual grandstands, we got Janice Robert going and shouting out to Brandon Robert, saying, "Go, go, go, buddy. Let's keep you on the run." Always fantastic to see the family getting involved. But Jan Verrie makes it a nice clean pass around the outside of Noah Hendricks, and now has his eyes firmly set on Etienne Swart ahead of him. So Noah Hendricks and Sean Sims are going to have to be very cautious on this approach. Where are they going to be able to get the run? They are closing up on the battle, and it's going to be an interesting time. Time starting to drop off. That 1:26 being an average time for the top end of the field, and it's showing as our drivers really push themselves that little bit more around the outside. Can't quite put it together at the moment, doing everything they can. Monumental efforts, and I gotta say, huge efforts had by all, and really well done. But there is still so much to go on. Who's going to be able to get the climb? Who's going to be able to battle it out? And who's going to be able to stand at the top of the order? Well, we're going to have to find out in due course as our drivers go and look to push themselves that fraction more. Where can they get a little bit of pace? Now, I do want to apologize that Alex Moore is actually not in Pro-Am. He is in Pro, and that looks to be a bit of a problem with our timing. So let's quickly sort that out for Alex Moore, who is actually a Pro driver, not a Pro-Am. So that does change up where our paces are, as we do see Jan battling out with Etienne Swart onto the back of him, trying to push that a little bit more, seeing where he can go throughout the race. It's going to be a tough time, though, as everyone looking to stand above the cards, really push themselves forward and stay in for the fight. So at the moment, Troy Dolenchik, followed by Luke Lucchese, John Jans van Rensburg, staying in for the fight and looking to really step it up at the moment, hoping that they will be able to get the climb just a little bit more as they battle their way through. So Van Rensburg trying to close up to Luke Lucchese. Paul Gerber trying to run. He's in fourth place. Malcolm Pringle, first of our Pro-Ams, with Robbie Teens trying to chase him down in the DHL, second of our Pro-Am. So Troy Dolenchik, Luke Lucchese, Jan van Rensburg is running in our top run. So this is going to be a proper run. I see our live timing, for some odd reason, has decided to kick the bucket a little bit. Let's see it try to get back. There we go. Well done, Tim. Absolutely great stuff to have Tim definitely helping us out here and being part of the team. crucial part of this amazing team here in the commentary side of things. Jean-Jans van Rensburg onto the back of Luc Lucchesi, trying to close up that gap. Unfortunately, not able to work. And then you've got Jan Verrie. He is going to be the one to keep an eye out for, currently running in 8th position and is getting closer and closer onto the attack. So Troy Donaldchik, Luc Lucchesi, Jans van Rensburg, Paul Gerber, Malcolm Pringle, Robbie Teens, and John Stewart having to try and figure out when are they going to get in the pits. What's going to be the options here? How far are they willing to push the cars out a little bit more? Troy Dolanchik trying to carve his way through a bit of traffic will have to get right behind Brandon Robert, who is trying to keep it all in check at the moment. Brandon Robert on the chase to try and catch up to Ruan de Toy ahead of him, and that is roughly about 10 seconds ahead of him. So he's got to get past the likes of Paul Webber, who is still out there on track. I've got to hand it to the Batmobile. Paul Webber is still going out there. He is a couple of laps down, but that never say never, that never die attitude, and the Batman is really showing what he can do. Absolutely hats off. Gotta say, I love competitors that don't know when to quit. They're going to keep up the fight, much like we're seeing the fight between Sean Sims and likes of Etienne Swart as they fight it out between one another. Sean Sims chasing down Etienne Swart, who is in the yellow car, and contact with the two. Sean Sims with a broken front left is now going to be hemorrhaging. He won't be able to make the corners. Noah Hendricks gets on by. Sean Sims is into the wall after doing all he could. That little bit of contact, they're a little too close, and unfortunately went the same way as Icarus. Got too close to the sun and got burned, and that just close effort. But what has the damage incurred to the right rear of Noah Hendricks' car? That is my question. Noah Hendricks will also feel that knock, as it was a pretty substantial. And then you've got Francois Dettori trying to close up the gap as well. And Francois Dettori, it all gets a huge tank slap, a major save. Not an easy thing to do, and I even think that Ukrainian Autosport Butsev will say the same thing. To catch these cars at pace, to catch any single-seaters at pace, definitely a rough one to do, and cross-arming it is never easy because it can quite easily just become like a fish, or flop, and it will fly away from you just in a matter of moments. Jean-Jans van Rensburg close to Luc Lucchesi. If you take a look, pit stops now starting to happen again. John Stewart into the pits, along with Francois Dettori. Francos Dettori, sorry, is into the pits as well. So now Johan Verrie up into 7th position, closing that gap down. Slowly but surely knocking on the doors here, trying to see where he can get by. Etienne Swart dealing with Noah Hendricks. Noah Hendricks actually a little bit of a scuffle on the front of his nose, and that is landing up with a bit of a problem. So he's got a little bit of a scuffle on the nose. I do think that Noah Hendricks is hemorrhaging here, and he's going to have to radio into the pits like, guys, let's get spares ready, let's get spanners ready. We need to get this car sorted out soon as we get in. As this goes up on the jacks, tighten things up, get ourselves sorted, and get back out there and racing into the fight to stay within the top 10. Troy Donaldchik, Luc Lucchesi, Jean-Jans van Rensburg, Paul Gerber into the pits, Malcolm Pringle into the pits. That tells me that is based on fuel usage. It's not tire usage that's gone and pulled them into the pits like that. That is fuel usage that's drawn them in. Will Robbie Teens do the same? Yes, it is. And I do think that is going to work in the favor of Jan Verrie, who's going to try and boot his way past. No! Jan Verrie getting into the pits. Jan Verrie into the pits. After all that, Jan Verrie into the pits. Etienne Swart, Noah Hendricks into the pits. Alex Moore, though, is going to have an opportunity here. He's got to go if he wants to try and make up some time. Van Rensburg is going to be the next of the targets to try and close up on. Alex Moore has successfully usurped a majority of the field. Luka Logovic putting in the fastest lap time of the race with a 1:25.994 is in 5th place with Malcolm Pringle onto the back of him. So Troy Dolanchik, Luc Lucchesi, Van Rensburg running 1st, 2nd and 3rd. Fantastic run on them. But Alex Moore, that little bit closer to the front, took a bit of a gamble. He managed to get some form of usurp. Oh, a little bit of a bottom out from Malcolm Pringle as he makes his way through. Ryan Ottens now trying to pressurize Paul Gerber. Goes around the outside. Is going to be able to do it. Beautifully done. The Alpha 1 Esports driver from the transition from the likes of Assetto Corsa Competizione over to iRacing. Ryan Ottens has been one of those carry-on drivers that's really gone and stepped up the mark. Good to see that he's having a good time out there. But now up into 8th place, he has managed to claw back 14 positions, where Steven Kutzer, on the other hand, I do want to point out and take my hats off, because I think there's a few people that are going to be smiling ear to ear on this one. Steven Kutzer has climbed 17 positions since the start of his race. Yes, you heard me right. 17 positions, folks. That is no hangabout. That is a person on a charge. Took a gamble with the pit stop to try and get into the fray. Now Malcolm Pringle closing up to Luka Logovic is going to do everything he can. Malcolm Pringle's got to be very careful on the charge. Luka Logovic, seeing that Malcolm Pringle's got a little bit of an internet issue there, goes and watches a car disappear and reappear, but he is maintaining a bit of an understanding of where Malcolm Pringle is, and now this is going to hurt him. Down the back straight they go. This is all about putting in the power. The slipstream going to come into effect here, and Luka Logovic, you can see, defensive of that inside line, holding towards the apex on the exit. So he's going to try and power his way through. Opens it up, full taps around the outside. Goes Malcolm Pringle, but just couldn't do it. Goes for the undercut. He is on the softs though, so Malcolm Pringle will have a little bit more grip for a short amount of time here to make an impact. It's going to have to be a charge. Luka Logovic, middle of the circuit, tries to defend, switches to inside. Malcolm Pringle quickly swapping around and saying, all right, buddy, let's try and work this one out here. Let's play the tango. Let's do this and fight their way through as they go side by side. This time, Malcolm Pringle having the advantage. He then backs out of it. So Malcolm Pringle backing out of the run, decides that it's not worth going and damaging the car just as yet. Paul Gerber onto the back of Robbie Teens. Robbie Teens onto the back of Leon Vessels. This is the 3-car train that has now built up over the course of it. Leon Vessels, who's currently running 3rd in class, has got Robbie Teens that's running 4th in class of our Pro-Ams. Paul Gerber, on the other hand, is a pro driver running 7th in class, so he hasn't got any worry of getting involved in this fight, but has an opportunity to make this work for him in his favor. Robbie Teens and Leon Vessels are looking to push each other that fraction more. Try and push over the limit, just even if it's a little bit beyond what the drivers are capable of. If you can get onto the brakes a fraction earlier, use those engine braking to pull you through, and take a look at Malcolm Pringle. Tries for the inside line. Luka Logovic, once again, defensive of that inside line, and now gently moves it over to the middle of the circuit. Not to break the rules, but just enough to keep it all in check. Runs out a little bit wide, still giving a good bit of space here. Malcolm Pringle and Luka Logovic were going to absolute wars with one another in this fight, and this is turning into a beautiful moment. Side by side these two go, and you gotta take your hat off to both drivers that have really done a phenomenal job. I do want to point out Malcolm Pringle is actually in the Pro-Am class, and he is fighting against Luka Logovic, who's racing in the Pro class. But no matter that, these drivers are showing off some phenomenal skill and some close racing support, and any sort of petrol head will start to go and say, hey, listen, this is good. This is what we like to see, and we like to see some very close racing. I've got to take my hats off to both drivers. John Jans van Rensburg still keeping on the back of Luke Lucchese, constantly locking out that door, trying to see where is he going to be capable to get the pass done and dusted. Going to be a lot of hard work to try and do it as it breaks away and it gets into the run. Leon Vessels trying to fight his way through, and along with Paul Gerber trying to stay into the mix. Paul Gerber actually runs out towards the inside. He's got a damaged front wing. So Paul Gerber has got a damaged front wing. That allows Ferrari to get on by. Ferrari's going to have a quick one to just get by, get going, and stay out of the fight there. Luka Logovic now trying to make his way through. Now this is a bit of a difficult situation for Logovic as he's trying to get his way through the back markers, which is fellow competitors to him. But for Malcolm Pringle, it is a radio call away to say, listen, give me the toe, let me go sort of approach here as they carve their way through the grid. So it's always a bit of a difficult one when you get into a team game like this, and this will benefit Malcolm Pringle, who instantly takes the opportunity to pull himself along with the number 14 car and get past. So well done on that. And that is Dina Machai, who decided, listen, I'm going to back off the throttle, let you go into the corner, but it was just enough to pull the car along. Great to see a little bit of working out there, but it's going to be a little bit of a tango, a little bit of a dance, a little bit of a ballet, if one could say, as Johan Ferrari all over the back of Leon Vessels, trying to figure out where he can go. Now, Ferrari started high up in the order. He took the early stop to try and make his way through. That was on lap 1. unfortunately, had to pit once again. Some odd reason, he did not have what he needed. He needed to pit again. That dropped him down the order. So once again, trying to get that climb. Goes side by side with Leon Wessels heading into turn 1. He's going to have the advantage due to the tires, and that helps him out. That soft tires is really, really helpful in a pinch, but you've got to look after it. You've got to conserve it. You've got to ensure that it doesn't land up in a bit of a problem. Malcolm Pringle and Luka Logovic still fighting it out with one another. Elbows, knees, and toes, chasing each other down, turning into a monstrous battle. And, oh man, right across. Very, very difficult time as Luka onto the chase, really trying to push his way through. Malcolm Pringle stuck on the inside, going and making moves all over to just try and maintain positioning. Never going to be an easy stunt on this one. Luka Logovic going to try and hold his line, and Malcolm Pringle trying to have a good go, but it does look like that is one of the cars. That might be the 28 that is sitting behind them. I just want to confirm, is that the 28 or is that the 18? No, that wouldn't be the 18. Would that be the 88? No, it's not. So one of the Slowpoke Racing going and seeing Malcolm Pringle starting to have a bit of a difficult time out there, going and saying, okay, listen, we've got to try and work out here. Luka Logovic's on the back of you, but in turn, you're also a little bit rough to maneuver by. That's Sean Sims, who would be radioing in at this point, saying, okay, let's work with this. We don't want to create a bit of problems here. We want to work with one another. Luke Lucchese and Van Rensburg fighting it out with one another. Absolutely great stuff. Van Rensburg trying to use every bit of knowledge possible just to look on the inside of Luke Lucchese, but the wily old dog is really going and fighting it out. Luke Lucchese, a very, very established sim racer, and a very established sim racer and real racer, much like Van Rensburg, both coming from both backgrounds, IRL and sim, both have accomplished quite a bit. Luke Lucchese going and fighting it out there, trying to push himself, the RDSA Esport Pantera Racing driver, going and keeping ahead as Van Rensburg runs out a little bit wide, and that has just cut away some of the pace underneath him. Jan Ferree onto the back of Robbie Teens. These two know each other from way, way back. They have been competitors, whether it be in GTEs, whether it be in GT3s, whether it be in Porsche Cup. Both Robbie Teens and Jan Ferree have been at wars with one another, but taking the win though, Troy Dolenchik comes across in first place. Luke Lucchese ahead of John Jansford Rensburg, Alex Moore, followed by Luka Logovic, who manages to just keep Malcolm Pringle at bay. Malcolm's going to try and utilize the push to pass, just nothing in it though. Malcolm Pringle comes across the line, does take the class win. He's going to be happy with that. Stephen Kutzer finishing up in 7th, 8th place. Ryan Ottens, huge climb back for him. Jan Ferree gets across the line ahead of Robbie Teens and is going to be smiling on that one. Good fight between them. Leon Wessels comes across the line. Paul Gerber, Noah Hendricks, Francois de Toy will be the next one to come across the line and make his way through. Dino Machaya and Sean Sims, very, very close finish, might I add, as they came through. Francois de Toy, followed by Tienas Porchita, as we do see Brandon Roberts get on by and gets a good drive. Raymond Duggan going to try and go for it, but unfortunately a little bit too back from Tienas Porchita. Ruan de Toy sitting in 17th, 18th, Etienne Swart, followed by John Stewart, Dino Machai, Sean Sims, Brandon Roberts. Phenomenal drive on him to claw his way back into the fight. Bainon Kersop, who stuck it out to the end, and followed by the Batmobile himself, Paul Weber. I do want to point out a huge, huge congratulations to ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everyone out there in the virtual grandstands. Please, please, please give a monster round of applause. Not a single retirement in the race for the IndyCars, despite some hefty knocks. All drivers were able to get it to the line, and that, I have to say, is seriously, seriously impressive and well earned. So please, just round of applause in the chat there into the grandstands for the drivers. Not a single retirement, and that really shows the effort going in. Let's take a look at the results, though, for our Pro Division. Troy Dolenchik leading out the pack. Luke Lucchese in second. Jean Jansford Rensburg, Alex Moore, Luka Logovic, Ryan Ottens, Jan Ferree, Paul Gerber, Noah Hendricks, Raymond Duggan, and John Stewart running for 11th place of our pros. Moving on to our Pro-Am zone, and that is going to be Malcolm Pringle, followed by Stephen Kutzer, Robbie Teens, Leon Wessels, Francois de Toy, Tienas Porchita, Ruan de Toy, Etienne Swart, Dino Machai, Sean Sims, Brandon Robert, Vanon Kersop, and Paul Weber rounding out that pack. So that has turned it a little bit on its head. Guys trying to move a little bit forward. But what does that mean for the championships? Now, always the question, what does it mean for the championships? How is that going to influence the championships? Who's going to be able to get that little bit of a run through? Who's going to be able to get that climb? Oh, well, we're going to have to investigate that in further detail to see who has pushed it forward. So let's quickly give a provisional idea of what the championships would have been done to the absolute run and see what's happening out there. So taking a look at our provisional championship points after Heat 1, Sean Sims will lead out the pack still, followed by Robbie Teens and Brandon Robert. They managed to lock down first, second, third with some great runs. Then we got Steven Kutzer, Leon Wessels, Werner Swart, Etienne Swart, followed by Tiernas Puakita, Ruan de Toy going and making a bit of a climb. A drop for Ruan de Toy by 3 positions. Paul Webber down by 1. Dino Manchai up 4 places on that, and that's just by hanging in there. Vayner Kursop sitting on 109 points, unfortunately. Couldn't quite get the climb there. Peter van der Spey is a little bit down. Malcolm Pringle is going and scoring some points, unfortunately unable to get a climb. Roland Ferrer, Gareth Brits, Francois de Toy, and along with Alexander Ringer, Ruan de Toy and going and doing it. So this is definitely turning into a race of note. And taking a look at our provisional points for our pro. Once again, very, very provisional points in this. Troy Dolanchik will be usurping Johan Fourie, getting to the top spot, 303 points. Johan Fourie down 1, so he's going to have to work hard in Heat 2. Jean-Jans van Rensburg maintains 3rd, followed by Alex Moore, currently 4th in the championship on 235. He has an opportunity here, but he's got to score big to be able to walk his way into that top 3. Luca Logovic, Noah Hendricks, Luke Lucchesi, Ryan Ottens, Paul Herber, Malcolm Pringle, Raymond Duggan, Timothy Stanton, Doug Herber, Willem Buerta, Stuart Vara, Gerald Fourie, Leighton Fourie, John Stewart, Peter Meyer, and Yuri Umpi Swart rounding out that. So that is just provisional points, ladies and gentlemen, for the round 5 here at Watkins Glen for the RaceFace.Pro IndyCar Sprint Series Season 1. Now, taking a look at our virtual grandstands, there is quite a few very, very good names out there. As I said, we have got Syuri Butsev all the way out from the Autosport of Ukraine, representing Ukraine there, and a very talented open wheel driver. Good to see you out there, buddy. Also see old Dino going and popping in to support the iRacing side of things. He's actually one of our drivers in ACC, going and having a huge amount of fun there. Difficult times. He's had some problems there and thereabouts with a couple of issues. But recently, the big news came out from the ACC side with Dino now signed with PWSR. So congratulations on that one, Dino. And welcome to PWSR. Hope you have a lot of fun. Got a lot to climb, though, as Kieran's going to give you the chase of notes. And Alan will talk your ear off if you need to. He is one of our faster commentators out there, along with Tristan Herbst. So there's a bit of a battle between the two. Butsev giving a big round of applause, which is always great. Niall Bullion, Alex forgot to bind his button for push to pass, and that's why he was dropping out. Makes sense. Hopefully he's gone and fixed that problem now. But it does lose out that little bit of ground. You can lose up to about 1.5 to 2 seconds by not having that push to pass. He needs to have it. Remember, he's got to keep his foot absolutely planted for it to work. As soon as he comes off the throttle, it will stop that push to pass. Chris Simons, though, jumping in as well into the grandstands, which is always fantastic. A big, big welcome to everybody. If you're popping into the grandstands, you're not going and waving the flags, sending messages here to the commentary box. Glad to see you guys out there. Can see the grandstands getting packed and packed and packed. Great to see you out there. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad to have you here at the RaceFace.Pro IndyCar Sprint Series Season 1, Round 5 here at Watkins Glen. So much has gone on, but we're getting closer to the end of the championship. We've gone beyond the halfway mark. We are now into these closing stages of the championship. Watkins Glen being a big, big one. And we did take out the boot to allow a bit more straight line speed, which a lot of the drivers were a little bit worried about because you practice with the boot, you know how to get through the boot. But with the IndyCar, that sudden change can become very affecting. So you don't want to keep an eye. You want to try and push yourself to that. Remember that in 2 weeks' time, we will have our grand final at Sebring International Raceway. That is on the 26th of November. You don't want to miss that out. It's definitely going to be a good one. And Designer Mark going and really putting them in the squeeze there. And you want to talk about putting the screws into someone. That's the way to do it. Hopefully the slowpokes don't kill each other. I know there was the running joke of, turtle racing, similar to papaya racing, but we really don't want to see the old school Red Bull where both get taken out, or the old school Merc where they get taken out. Hopefully they can keep it all out on the track there and keep it going. They've been a strong effort nonetheless. So let's go through our running order of the top 5. Wyatt Peters, thank you very much for also being in the grandstands and having a bit of fun. Wyatt Peters is actually one of our drivers from from iRacing, and was racing in the Pro-Am. Wyatt, we did see you and your success. It's out there on the channel as well. Definitely go and take a look at it. It's going to be a wild one. So yeah, bus stop has been removed. Do apologize for that one. That is correct. Bus stop has been removed. So let's go through the order here, because what have we done? What's changed it up? We have gone and restarted for, this is Heat 2, folks, of the RaceFace.Pro IndyCar the IndyCar Sprint Series. Now, this does change things up a little bit. It does move cars a little bit more forward, and with Heat 2, it does provide its own challenges. Now, what did we also do? We took the top 5 of the running order and reversed them. So the top 5 has been reversed, so that's why Luka Logvik back into first place. He's going to be giving it everything he's got. Alex Moore in second place. Remember, he dropped a little bit back, finished in 4th. We do know why. Unfortunately, not able to use that push to pass. Didn't quite help him out there. Then we got likes of Van Rensburg, followed by Luke Leclerc, who are going to be battling out, and Troy Dolanchik will be in 5th place. So Troy Dolanchik has got a bit of a climb here after the win. He's got to keep that in mind. How cautious is it going? But drivers are going to have to push themselves that little bit more to try and keep going. One thing I can ask for the drivers of Slowpoke Racing, please, just bring up to Malcolm Pringle. He needs to get that internet sorted out. We do see him blipping in and out of existence. It does make it rather disorientating for the drivers. So if you do have communications to Malcolm Pringle, just let him know. At the moment, he does dip in and out, especially in a close fight. Not ideal circumstances. So Designer Mark, please go and relay that little bit of information. So where is this going to go? Malcolm Pringle, who took the win for our Pro-Am, looks to do it again, but this time with the likes of Troy Dolanchik around. Don't count out Luke Leclerc. He's looking to get a little bit more of a climb up through the order and going to battle out. And Ryan Ottens, also a driver, keep very close on. Robbie Teens, who is trying to make up some time. And then you got Johan Ferree that will be pushing as hard as he can as well. So definitely some difficult times, close racing, and it's going to be a difficult one out there. So a bit of information. Malcolm Pringle lives on a farm. So we're going to call him O McDonald at this point. And there we go. Or is he Colonel Sanders? Would it be Colonel Sanders? No, he wouldn't be a colonel. He'll be a... Well, it'll definitely be related to the Barnyard movie. That's most certain. Maybe he's that little fluffy thing that just bounces around when the music goes. Who knows? It's Malcolm Pringle. Anyone's guess. He's like a Pringle. Once you pop the top, you can't stop. Like a Pringle can. There we go. Oh, my heavens. Where is the headspace in this? Because it's going to get alive, it's going to get wild, it's going to get absolutely insane. Luka Logvik, Alex Moore, once again, locking down that front row. They had a great battle for the start of it. Now they're going to have to redo it again as they're going to fight it out and really do everything they can. Safety car into the pits without killing Kenny the Cone. Well done on that one. Green flag up, and we are racing with Luka Logvik off to a great start. Alex Moore caught sleeping, and now Luke Leclerc gets a run, trying to get around Van Rensburg around the outside, gets it hooked in. Van Rensburg going down the order. There's a bit of chaos behind, and that, unfortunately, John Stewart involved in the battle. Leon Vessels going and getting caught up as one of the drivers just going and losing to go and battle it out. And this is going to be an interesting. Malcolm Pringle trying to utilize Van Rensburg to go for the attack onto the back of Troy Dolanchik. They're going to have to really work together on this one. Ryan Ottens, though, going to look to put a bit of pressure. Simon Kutzer runs out a bit wide, and here comes Jan Ferree. Like a speeding bullet train, goes around the outside, looks to sweep across the nose, got it done and dusted. Steven Kutzer down the order. Noah Hendricks now looking to go next. Paul Herber going defensive, trying to hold back likes of Raymond Duggan of Rad Racing. and Ruan de Toy trying to close down that. Etienne Swart followed by Francois de Toy, Brandon Robert, Tiernas Porquita, Paul Webber, Dino Achai going and finding out. Robbie Teens into the mix as well. Sean Sims trying to make a bit of time. John Stewart, we saw a little bit further back, landed up with a bit of a problem. Vainon Kursop, who is just, oh man, devastating Heat 1 and Heat 2. Leon Vessel's in the pits, but Vainon Kursop just dragging the car back with a busted tyre, and hopefully can keep it going. And a huge thing. Luke Logovic trying to get away from Alex Moore at the moment. Luke Lucchese getting nice and close. Oh, contact against the wall for one of the Slowpoke Racing. That might have been Malcolm Pringle. That clipped the wall ever so slightly and caused a little bit of damage. And even noticing that's coming in. Troy Dolenchik getting actually, there's a sign out there. I've got to just try and use my binocs a little bit. And yes, that is Tate Bishop that's sitting there in the virtual grandstands going and saying easy for Troy Dolly. So the Dolly trying to make his way onto the back of Luke Lucchese. And Luke, the wily old fox, is not going to let that happen too easy. Tries to carry a lot of the momentum through. And Troy Dolenchik have to keep that well in mind. And Van Rensburg closing up the gap. Malcolm Pringle losing a lot of time, and that allows Ryan Ottens to close back that little bit of time. Really get into the fight. Jan Ferree doing everything he can. Stephen Kutzer, Paul Ferber. But we do have an off track for Noah Hendricks. So what happened to Noah Hendricks? This is coming out of turn, coming out of the corner, and sweeps around. Oh, just that snap under braking. He just slides the car. Thankfully, no impact, but the tires definitely taking the impact there, and lots of the drivers having to take a very huge wide berth at that point to avoid any problems. Ron DeToy also landing up with a bit of a problem, and he had the likes of Webber behind him. So Webber's behind him, Brandon Roberts ahead of him, and DeToy trying to carry a lot of momentum, puts it in, and just that rear steps out, carrying a little bit too much pace, and leans onto the tires. He has got knocked in the rear wing, and that is going to drop him down the order, needing a bit of repair work to the car. So not ideal circumstances there. Raymond Duggan onto the back of Paul Herber, trying to push his way through. Looks around the outside, looks around the inside, switches around. Rad Racing up against the team try-hard driver. Looks to go around the outside. Now it's going to be pushing in tow, side by side, as they give it horns. And Paul Herber trying to do everything he can, but we got Raymond Duggan, sweeps across. He has got the better tyres at this point, can break that a little bit later, has a little bit more confidence in it. Great to see it. And Alex Moore pushing as hard as he can onto the back of Luke Lucchese with the likes of Troy Dolenchik in tow as they battle their way through. As we jump onto the roll bar cam, up through the gears, and this will give you a sense of how hard you need to push the cars to get that little bit of a climb. Looks up on the inside, tries to swing it through, and holds it in second gear to third. Carries a lot of momentum up against Luke Lucchese, who's keeping it rather stable on the way through. Great stuff as the drivers look to try and push themselves out a little bit more as the race continues. But Troy Dolenchik still hunting down, trying to figure out where he can get past Luke Lucchese. Starting to open the gap. Oh, contact against the wall for Alex Moore. That is not going to be a happy camper, and he's going to feel in the steering instantly. Troy Dolenchik smelling blood in the water, tries for the inside line. Couldn't quite get that pass to work, but is definitely hunting it down. Malcolm Pringle starting to feel the pressure from Ryan Ottens and Johan Ferree that are closing up in tow to do everything they can to stay in for the fight. This is Noah Hendricks fighting it out with Paul Webber. The Batmobile still hanging in for a fight. Noah Hendricks going and being a bit of a stealth bomber at the moment, tries to make his way through, but there is a problem for Van Rensburg. Van Rensburg is into the pits, and it looks like something has gone wrong, absolutely hurting the likes of Van Rensburg. That has stopped him from continuing on. What on earth happened to Van Rensburg that he's way down the order and now having to really get back out and going? He was one of our top runners at one point, and unfortunately Lady Luck was not going and happened into a tough time. So definitely, Alex Moore runs out wide, and he has got severe damage to his car. So Alex Moore has got a bit of damage to his car. The front wing broken, suspension has probably felt the hit, moves out of the way for Ferree. He's going to have to get into the pits to get that repaired, and tries to line himself up. That is going to allow Stephen Kutzer to get by. It does help with getting that pit stop done and dusted, but I wonder if there wasn't a little bit of a touch with Alex Moore and the likes of, I would say, Van Rensburg, it is possible that the two of them had a bit of a blow to one another. Now Malcolm Pringle needs to fight it out against Ryan Ottens, hunting left and right. Ryan Ottens trying to carry on a little bit more pace, looks into the toe, looks around the outside, can he carry the momentum? Down the straight they go, push to pass capabilities, here we come, and absolutely pins it to the floor, really trying to get that little bit more of a run, and sweeps across the outside, he does so, hooks it in, ahead of Malcolm Pringle, couldn't quite get that fight to pull the way through, but definitely tried his luck. Luke now dealing with Troy Dolenchek. These two know each other far too well. They're in constant communication with one another. Going to be a difficult time. Dylan Achai losing out a bit of a fight ahead of him to the likes of Sean Sims. And now Paul Webber onto the back of him. The Batmobile doing everything he can. Oh, that is Francois du Toit into the wall. He's collected the wall. That is major, major impact to the suspension. Would have a bent wishbone, and he's got a broken nose. So he's going to have to get that car fixed up. Straight line speed, dead as a doornail, and unfortunately going right across into the wall. That landed up with a brake, so he has to keep it in mind that that didn't quite work out. Got to try and figure out what the next step is. Paul Herber onto the back of the likes of Raymond Duggan, trying to push that a little bit further, really trying to get the climb. Bottoms out the car. Didn't look like he clipped the wall, but it definitely, sparks came out. That's bottoming out the bottom of the car, and he's going to have to keep that well in mind, so that will eventually start upsetting the car, and he's going to have to play the bigger game here. Now, we did see later pit stops in Heat 1. Is that going to happen in Heat 2 again? Well, I've going to take a gamble here that a lot of the drivers thought about it and decided, nah, it's not going to be the case. Take a look at Paul Herber, though. Keeps into the slipstream, pulls along, and can't get past Raymond Duggan right before the braking zone. Does move across and then get into the braking zone. So it is one move to get into the corner, which is very well done. But he is leaving it till last minute. Now, it is kind of a difficult one for that to work out, because you can leave it a little too late and just send yourself that little bit further up the road, which will land up hurting you. So the driver's going to have to keep that well in mind as it stands. So Luka Logovic leads out the pack for our pros, and Pringle leading out the pack for our proams. And Pringle not backing down from the fight, has got Steven Kutzer right onto the back of him, trying to make up some time. Is it going to be enough, though, as they push themselves that fraction more into the battle? And Raymond Duggan trying to stay in for the fight. Raymond Duggan going off to Paul Herber. Luka Logovic now into the pits and getting it sorted out. So Luka Logovic going to be getting himself into the pits, gets it done and dusted, will be getting back out for the race as well, and ensure that he can try and make up as many positions as possible. Now, that does develop the race, because he wants to keep ahead of Alex Moore, who puts it on lap 4. Now, Alex was an unplanned pit stop, where it looks like Luca's pit stop was a bit more planned. Dino Machai, Tienes Porquita, all pulling into the pits as well, so they're trying to get it done and dusted. Troy Dolenchik and Luke Lucchesi, side by side they go, heading into the corner. Troy going around the outside and getting it hooked in, like the Merc colors that is above him, and they're able to find grip anywhere at the moment. But don't count out Luke Lucchesi going in old school Shell colors to fight it out. And I think that is actually part of the IndyCar colors that's currently running for 2024, in that powered by Shell, where you've got the Mercedes colors of Troy Dolenchik going in, having a bit of fun out there, the sporting towards the George Russell, Lewis Hamilton sort of time, and they are really pushing each other to the limit once again. Great racing nonetheless. Steven Kutzer right behind Malcolm Pringle, who is doing everything he can. The farmer battling it out. Johan Ferree trying to go that little bit further in the monster colors. Now they are trying to push the limits to what they can here. Now, to remind everyone, this is a fixed setup race, which means you cannot modify the setup. You can only adjust your brake bias. You can only use your push to pass. That is all that you can do during the race. You can't actually fiddle around with the cars. You can't change your anti-roll bars while you're racing, because the Indy cars have so much that you can do while driving in an open configuration. Closed configuration is only push to pass and brake bias, and that is what the drivers are going to have to deal with as everything starts to run out. Fixed setups in that regard, and all these cars are the exact same chassis. They're running the Dallara IR18 chassis that have been tried and true throughout it all. and really having a bit of fun. But you take a look at Etienne Swart left to right to try and snap the toe. That's used all these moves. Noah Hendricks tried following it all the way through. Carries a lot of momentum though, but unfortunately runs out that little bit wide. And it's purely on the fact of as you get closer to your competitor, or even if you get into this 0.4 of a second in these cars, these high aerodynamic vehicles, you eventually get this turbulence that washes off the back of the cars, and it then creates an aero wash. Even if you're on the side, like what Noah Hendricks has got at the moment, you'll feel the steering start to get a little bit lighter. He's got to rely on that mechanical grip to work it out. And Etienne Swart trying to battle it out. Noah Hendricks sweeps across the nose, gets it done and dusted. Can he carry the momentum through? Very close to the dirt. Swart trying to go for the cutback. Oh! Swart having to take evasive maneuvers. That was a clip into the wall. Unfortunately, Swart taking that monstrous impact to the wall. Not ideal circumstances for them. Robbie Teens losing out of position to the likes of Ruan de Toy, and now he's got Francois de Toy on. He's got Paul Webber, I do apologize, onto the back of him. Paul Webber doing everything he can. Francois de Toy, Stephen Francois de Toy trying to close up that little bit of a gap. Has got a bit more run. Looks for the inside line. Takes a lunge. Gets past Webber, who does go for the undercut. Beautifully done. Absolutely sold him the dummy there. Hook, line, sinker. Take that one to the bank. Great run for him. Alex Moore getting a position over Dino Machai. Now trying to work his way back. His next target has to be set on Etienne Swart, Luka Logovic, as they both have pitted, and he's tried for the undercut. Luka Logovic pitted on lap 6 as well. So it's going to be a tough time there. Etienne Swart now rolling. Alex Moore only coming around the final corner now. Unfortunately, not going to work out for him. He's going to have to use that push to pass, try and pull his way a little bit closer, and try and force the likes of Etienne Swart on colder tires to just go and push it out of its comfort zone. But Swart going and running second of those that have pitted. Luka Logovic, on the other hand, first of those have pitted, and he's closed up the gap to John Stewart. Really done a great job there. Stephen Kutzer against Malcolm Pringle, the two Slowpoke racing teams. I think after having the problem at Heat 1 where there was a miscommunication amongst the team, I think they've all gone back to one another to say, hey, listen, let's work it out here. Raymond Duggan now into the pits. He's serving his pit stop to try and get that sorted out, and will be back up in racing as well. It's good to see that the driver's still sticking it out there during the course of this race. So 13 minutes in, let's go through our running order. It is Troy Donalczyk out in first place, followed by Luke Lucchesi, Ryan Ottens, Jan Ferree, Malcolm Pringle, Stephen Kutzer, Paul Herber, Brandon Robert, Noah Hendricks, Sean Sims is making his way by. John Stewart going side by side, trying to make his way past, and now has the likes of Luka Logovic breathing down his neck. Looks for the inside as they make their way through the S's. Loses out that apex. Going to carry the momentum. Sweeps across. Side by side they go. It's going to be a drag race now. Who's going to be able to do it? And this is where you're going to wish that the car ahead of you just moves into your toe. Luka Logovic, a little bit of a pressure there. Try and go and block off the nose of John Stewart. A little bit of a, I'd say a bit of a rough move there, just to try and do it. You don't want to put too much of a squeeze. It is fair. There was space, but that little bit more would have been a little bit nice, because it could have ended up in a huge crash if there was just no one giving an inch there. But well done to both drivers, able to work it out, communicate with one another non-verbally, and work what they were going to do, which is always the greatest stuff. When you start to know your competitors, you start to know the tactics, you start to understand how you can trust the drivers around you that can really push that little bit further. It does make a huge difference here in the world of motorsport, here in the world of sim racing, especially where we go and fight it out. So Robbie Teen's trying to make up some time onto the back of Dino Machai. Looks on the inside. Can he go for the pass? Robbie Teen sewing and sending it like DHL express delivery. He's going to absolutely send it on the inside and gets it straight past customs, and he takes it to 16th position. Dino Machai, unfortunately, gonna have to take a try right behind, and now has Paul Webber onto the back of him. The Batmobile gonna be chasing him down at this moment. So close racing there. Our top 10 still yet to pit. John Stewart needing to pit. He's lying in 12th place. So still there is lots of time on the board here for the drivers to really figure out what they need to do to get that little bit further up the road. What is that little bit of gain to stay in for the fight and really push themselves that little bit more? Always a tough time out there and we will have to keep a very close eye on who's going to be able to get the game. So we're going to just let everyone know that we have got the live timing, so you can go and take a look at link is in the comments. Go and feel free to be a part of it and understand the racing at hand. Go and keep an eye on your favorite drivers as you battle your way through. Jan Fourie doing a great run at the moment to keep it out, but is Ryan Ottens all keeping ahead of Jan Fourie. Fourie going to go around the outside. He's going to try and absolutely send it. Ryan Ottens stuck on the inside. It's going to be an absolute send. Ryan Ottens loses out the momentum as Jan Fourie uses that push to pass to get that little bit of extra kilometers underneath him, gets the run up, and does a great run there. Steven Kutzer trying to keep the chase on Malcolm Pringle at the moment. The two teammates not hanging around as Paul Gerber starting to close up that gap little by little and looking to put a bit more of a ding into the fight as well. Ryan Ottens and Fourie both fighting it out for third in class and for third overall. This is going to be a properly good run between them. But so far, Ryan Ottens is keeping onto the back of Fourie, hoping to push the tires a little bit more, both on the same compound. But it does look like Ryan Ottens is scrubbing a bit of pace, coming off the racing line a little bit more each and every time. That is not going to work out for him. Dutoit going and closing up to Dino Machai, going and seeing that there is a little bit of blood in the water there, going and telling him you got to get going. Paul Gerber staying into the mix with Steven Kutzer just ahead of him. Steven going to have to really keep the hammer down at the moment as they make their way through. Beautifully done. Drivers all trying to figure out what is going to be the capabilities here. What do you need to do? How far can you go? And with the time starting to run out, when are the pit stops going to come in? How late are they willing to go? As our top 10 still yet to do the pit stops. Unfortunately for John Stewart, he has not done a pit stop as yet, and that is going to lay into some massive problems in the future for him. As we do see Webber going and battling it out with Dutoit. Paul Webber up on the inside, gets the pass done, tries to hook it across, moves slightly across the nose to try and defend it. Does so, beautifully done, but still leaves a car width just in case of Dino Machai wants to have a go at him, or if there's a mistake under braking like what's been done right now. Dino runs in a little bit deep and loses out that little bit of momentum. So definitely a bit of a show of thinking out the box, working with one another here at the RaceFace.Pro IndyCar Sprint Series. And this is round 5, ladies and gentlemen, the second last round of the season. And 2 weeks' time, we will be heading into our final round. The grand finale will be at Sebring. The American version of Le Mans will be having a bit of fun. Jan Fourie all over the back of Ryan Ottens. Ryan doing a fantastic job in the Rebellion colours. And for those that don't know the Rebellion colours, do definitely go and take a look at the LMP2 Rebellion many years back. Very beautiful car. Good to see it out there. And drivers having a lot of fun. Paul Gerber onto the back of Steven Kutzer, who's getting a tow from Malcolm Pringle. The two Team Slowpoke Racing trying to move themselves a little bit through into the fight. Ruin Toy trying to close up to Alex Moore, who is on the climb. Unfortunately, Alex Moore, a big loss during the course of the race, and he has now got to make the climb, lying in 14th position at the moment, and this is definitely a tough time out there, as we do see Noah Hendricks diving into the pit, so he's trying to get himself done and dusted to try and go that little bit further. I do think in the tanks, these drivers are going to have to push themselves that little bit more to get that bit of momentum. Paul Gerber going to have to try and put his way into the front and go and battle his way through, as Cameron de Bastos, a Formula 4 driver, a part of the RF4 that was racing, going and also mentioning about the LMP1 in the Rebellion colours. Very true. That is always a great stuff to see drivers going and taking notes of one's past, but it's always nice to see some new liveries coming into the mix. As the McLaren colours for Paul Gerber, going to try and do everything he can. Can he pull a Lando Norris at this point? A rabbit out of the hats, lastminute.com. Well, Team Slowpokes is definitely not going to allow that, and I think Paul Gerber's getting a bit bored of the advertising on the rear wing that is of the Slowpoke drivers, of that EG Evolved currently in his face continuously. Luke Lucchesi into the pits. Troy Dolanchik is going to continue on. Ryan Ottens continues on. Jan Fourie continues on. So very interesting run there. Malcolm Pringle, Steven Kutzer, and Paul Gerber are going to continue that a little bit further. So where does Luke Lucchesi come out is the question. Brandon Robert pulls into the pit, so he's decided to get himself done and dusted. Will Sean Sims follow in suit, lying in 9th position? Yes, he does. Keeping a very close eye. Gotta give it up to the drivers though. And one usual accident we see here at Watkins Glen is going around the pits, and then you try and sling it back to go and get yourself into the pit lane. Drivers taking a little bit easy, start of the line, they follow it through and get it into the pit. So, I mean, that is properly well done. I got a round of applause to the drivers on that one. And that was just out of pure safety of their competitors, because the last thing you want to do is have this car spearing from the left-hand side to the right and land up with cars going into one another. So really, really neatly done by the drivers, just to take that little bit of consideration towards one another and also to the rule book. Paul Herbert trying to look up on the inside, second guesses it, pulled it out of the toe a little bit too early there, had to stay in it just that fraction longer, got a little bit unsettled trying to find that braking marker, didn't quite work out in his run, and will have to be very, very knowledgeable on that. Alex Moore getting past the likes of Ren Toy and also Etienne Swart, who came out of the pits, lost out a bit of time there. Not out of the pits, he lost out a bit of time through the S's and lost out 2 positions. Troy Donchik, Ryan Hodson, Jan Free, Malcolm Pringle, Stephen Kutzer, and Paul Ferber into the pits, and that is going to... Oh no! Oh no! Luke Lucchese has spun it! Luke Lucchese's lost it, and that is going to allow Luka Logovic to go and take that first place. This is an opportunity here for Luka to score massive, massive points on the run through. It's going to be hard work for it. He's going to have to put his head down, really get into the fight here, but Luke Lucchese, a critical error to his race, unfortunately, has cost him a absolutely huge amount of time, and he's going to have to really work his way back. The tires are going to be taking a bit of a hit, and took the gamble to go that little bit further. Unfortunately, the rear stepped out, and that was all she wrote for the cars needing to just go and keep themselves going. So definitely a hard time out there. Drivers are going to keep really notes of the situation at hand and say, okay, what do we need to do? How can we close this gap? What is needed to stay in for the fight? As we do see Alex Moore fighting it against Ruan Toy, who is not backing down from the fight. Ruan Toy closing up at a rate of knots, seeing where he can get that pass done and dusted. It's going to be a tough time out there. No back down from any of these drivers as they fight their way through and really trying to close up that gap as quick as they can. Ryan Ottens gets onto the back of Luka Logovic. Now we know Troy Dolanchik has gotten past Luka Logovic, and that was because he pits it a little bit later. But Ryan Otten's trying to capitalize, dives on the inside. Can he carry the momentum? He does so beautifully and causes the likes of Luka to get boxed in a little bit. Beautifully hooked in. Luka with a bit of frustration now has Jan Ferree, looks on the inside. He went for the defensive, and Jan Ferree goes and moves his way around. Jan Ferree is on the soft set of tires. On lap 15, he pulled into the pit, so those tires are very, very fresh compared to Luka Logovic on the harder compound. And here comes Ferree, dives up on the inside. Luka tries to go for the undercut, and it forces Jan Ferree a little bit straight. Jan loses out that bit of momentum. Well done to the back marker, though, who manages to keep himself out of trouble, decides that he's not going to get too much into a fight and rather focus on the charge. Paul Herber and Stephen Kutzer still fighting out between one another as they chase each other down. Ruan de Toy with Alex Moore still ahead of him, and Alex is absolutely hammering it at this point, and you can hear straight over from Niall Bouillon going and calling for Alex to just get that bit of momentum, but it does look like de Toy carries a good bit of pace into turn 1. He's got it hooked in. Now it's going to be up through the S's, so Alex Moore's going to have to tuck into the toe. Nice and deep. Get right into that gearbox. Get right underneath that wing and carry it right to the end before you make a move. No, he's going to make it early, though. Carries the momentum. Going to straight line it. Side by side they go. It's going to be a huge chase for Alex Moore as he goes around the outside. de Toy trying to lock down that inside line. Can't quite get it done. And de Toy loses out the position. Alex Moore comes in. Swaps in for the inside. Couldn't quite get it all hooked in. And that is all she wrote there. Jan Ferree and Luka Logovic still going to blows with one another as they try and make their way through. So there is still fights up and down through the field that can challenge the drivers to really do everything they can. Alex Moore and Ruan de Toy going to have to close up this gap as we just see de Toy goes for the inside line. Couldn't quite get that pass done and dusted. And that allowed Alex Moore to go on a bit more of a defense play at the moment. Great racing nonetheless. All the drivers still keeping on going. 24 cars started, 24 cars continuing, with so far Pro and Pro-Am leaders have not changed, with Dolanchik and Pringle leading out their respective classes. de Toy all over the back of Alex Moore, trying to push him that little bit more. through the race, and Alex is going to be very cautious about this, heading into turn 1, late on the anchors. He's on the softer compounds. That means he's got a little bit more grip, but he can lose out, especially when it bottoms out like that. Dutoy's going to have the run up through the S's, going to look for the inside, and exactly how we saw Alex get past Dutoy, it's going to be that all over again. Alex gets shifted to the outside, and that's going to allow Dutoy on the inside, drag racing between the two, and this is going to be a charge of note between Alex Moore and Dutoy. With Alex Moore stuck on the outside, he's going to try and carry the momentum on the outside. Dutoy dives up on the inside, sweeps close to the nose, couldn't quite close the door, tries once again, runs out a little bit wide. Alex Moore immediately puts his nose back in, utilizing all the grip possible, just staying onto the power. Still side by side these two go, with Dutoy eventually going and getting the upper hand over Alex Moore into the sharp hairpin, and forcing him to just go and break that a little bit harder, but absolutely tremendous stuff. We've got the likes of John Stewart onto the back of Paul Webber. Webber trying to go for the defense, and here comes Stewart though. He's going to give it everything he's got, stuck on the inside. Will have the straight line. He's got the softer compound tires to properly go for the send. It is newer. It does work. Hooks it in. Gets a little bit unsteady, but Webber not too much in the fight there, realizing he's going to focus on a bit more of a different game here. Paul Herber onto the back of Malcolm Pringle now as they try and push each other. This is not full class position, but Stephen Kutzer behind Malcolm Pringle is definitely going to be full class position. So Paul Herber, trying to make up some time, is onto the back of Malcolm Pringle, who's not backing down from the fight, who's really carrying a lot of momentum, doing a fantastic job out there, as we do see drivers doing a little bit of a shuffle around with one another just to stay out of trouble. The blue flags just giving a slight lift to allow drivers to go through, not to land up in too many problems. You don't want to have an issue out there. Alex Moore into the pits. So Alex Moore into the pits second time round, along with Dutoy getting into the pits. So that is a completely unexpected pit stop from the two of them. Webber gets it all out of shape as he nearly went into the back of John. That is closed up for Dino Machai to have a good go at him. Now Dino's in for a fight here to try and launch his way past, but Alex Moore and Dutoy pulling into the pits. And let's try and see if Alex Moore had a bit of damage to the car. Yes, he did. So they had a bit of contact with one another, and Alex Moore landed up going and breaking the nose. So they needed to quickly replace that so he can continue on the race, but unfortunately takes a lot of air out of him. And Alex Moore now all over the back of Ruan Dutoy, and right behind him is Francois Dutoy, who's going to be doing everything he can. So Ruan Dutoy and Francois now getting in, Francois Dutoy going and playing into the fight here as they close their way through. The lap's starting to dwindle down, and we now into the final minute and a bit for this race. Troy Donachik, Reinhard and Jan Ferree, Luka Logovic, Malcolm Pringle hanging on by a thread at the moment in that fifth place, as Paul Herber constantly hunting down, both on the same set of tires, both had the same strategy, but who has saved enough in the tank, who has saved enough in the tires to carry that little bit of momentum? Paul Herber doing everything he can. Malcolm Pringle with huge defense plays at the moment, doesn't actually have to worry about the likes of Paul Herber. He can really keep it all in check to stay in for a fight here and not get caught out. So Malcolm Pringle has got to keep a very, very close eye on the situation and decide whether it's an option to carry on the fight or if he's going to get it into the pits. Not into the pits, if he's going to let by and allow the pass to happen. So definitely a bit of a tough time out there for our drivers, needing to really figure out how they're going to go. And sorry, I do apologize. Malcolm Pringle is actually a pro driver, so a bit of a misconception on our timing once again. Apologies to the all, as our overrides definitely showing in a bit of a problem there. And Malcolm Pringle is actually a pro driver, not a pro-am, and he is fighting again. So this is for class positioning, and that does put Kutzer actually in the lead. But Paul Herber going and making a little bit of time as they fight their way through. Absolutely great stuff, and you can see Malcolm Pringle going on defense at the moment, trying to do everything he can to defend against the likes of Paul Herber, fighting out tooth and nail at this point, doing everything he can to try and push their way through and really step up the mark on the drive. This is our closest fight on circuit. The team slowpokes, though, getting a little bit unsteady with Pringle losing out a little bit of time. Paul Gerber constantly hammering on that door, hoping to make it happen. But Troy Dolanchik comes across the line to take first place, with second going to Ryan Ottens. What a phenomenal drive on his part. Jan Fourie takes third. Luka Logovic, a monster fight. Well done to him. Malcolm Pringle hangs on to keep ahead of Paul Gerber as they come across the line. And Steven Kutzer takes the run up towards the top. So great stuff for him. Brandon Roberts will come across the line, lying in 8th, followed by Noah Hendricks, Luke Lucchesi, Sean Sims, Etienne Swart, John Swart, Dino Machai getting past the likes of Paul Webber. Paul Webber's actually got a severe amount of damage to his car. He's trying to limp his car back, and that is going to allow Raymond Duggan to have a go at him. Goes off circuit. No, this can't be it. But Raymond Duggan's going to try. He's going to close up that gap. Is it going to be enough, though? Webber limping the car along. Unfortunately, he gets it robbed right at the last as they come by. That was pretty much that for him. So Raymond Duggan gets ahead of Paul Webber. Now will Dutoy do the same? Yes, he is. Dutoy's going to do the same. And so does Alex Moore. So absolutely phenomenal run there. Alex Moore gets a pass. Unfortunately for Webber, but give him his due, ladies and gentlemen. On the wheelbarrow, 3 wheels across the line. Paul Webber gets it across with the Batmobile. Robbie Teens comes across the line in 19th, followed by Francois Dutoy, Venon Kursop, Tristan Tianas Porchita, and Jean Jans van Rensburg. And ending it up is Leon Vessel. So great racing and a bit of a show of a burnout in usual Venon fashion. Destroy the tires to the best of his ability. And going on a phenomenal drive there. Wow, oh wow. What a race, ladies and gentlemen. What an absolute race. And still so much going on. But that is the end of Heat 2 here at the RaceFace.Pro. And does bring the end to our round 5 here at Watkins Glen. Definitely huge racing gone out there. Gotta take my hats off to the drivers. Really pushing the limits of what they can do in all the different heats, and honestly showing off a phenomenal drive and talent that the drivers had, and still continue to have, pushing that bar a little bit further, and also going in and having the respect of their fellow drivers racing in GT3s on ACC and on iRacing to come in and be a part of the show. Also going and saying, guys, that was well worth it. So well, we're going into a bit of exciting times at the moment, and we are going to be looking to pull a couple of drivers in to have a chat with us here at RaceFace.Pro. They're going to be into the commentary side of things. We'll try and have a quick interview with them and get some feedback on the race. How did it go for each of these drivers? But with some of the highlights out there, you can already see some of the amazing battles, the dives, the braking, the late moves, a little bit of contacts here and there, wheel to wheel, landing up with the other drivers, having to do everything they can to keep the defense at the moment as they power their way through. So definitely some hard times out there for every single one of them, trying to push themselves that a little bit further during the course of the race and seeing where that works out for them. So great stuff. And taking a look to our absolutely amazing virtual grandstand out there. Psycho Radar going and saying, absolutely epic racing to watch. Tristan Herbst, one of our commentators here at RaceFace.Pro, my co-commentator, who will be racing tomorrow evening, also taking his hat off to the amazing drivers here in the IndyCar, going and really putting a hat on and saying, well done, guys. Great to see it out there. And now looking to replicate the same thing coming tomorrow night for the Wednesday racing. But also, huge shout out has to go for all our international competitors tuning in and being a part of our international spectators as well. Glad to have you guys here outside of our South Africa. Glad to have you guys here. Absolutely tremendous and it's still a fantastic show. So we just waiting to see if we can get a couple of drivers to come and have a chat to us to get an idea of how the race went and give us an understanding of what went out there. But let's take a look at the results for our overall in that amazing effort with our drivers. So, top of the pack, Troy Donaldchik, followed by Ryan Ottens, Jan Fourie, Luka Logovic, Malcolm Pringle, Paul Gerber, Steven Kutzer, Brandon Roberts, running second place in the Pro-Am, Steven Kutzer first in the Pro-Am, followed by Noah Hendricks, Luke Lucchesi, Sean Sims, Etienne Swart, John Stott, also known as Jude Stewart, and then we've got Dino Machai, Raymond Duggan, Ruan Dutoy, Alex Moore, Paul Weber, Robbie Teens, Francois Dutoy, Vanna Kersop, Tennis Porkita, Jean Janssen van Rensburg, and Leon Vessels rounding out our pack. And great stuff out there for anyone that wants to. If you're curious about iRacing and iRatings and you want to know what's going on, well, Troy Dolenchik is currently sitting with an iRating of 7,000 and is actually one of the drivers that in Africa has the highest iRating. So how's that for a little bit of fun if you're looking to really take the fight up towards it? It does look like we're not going to be getting a couple of our drivers joining us, unfortunately, after the race, which is a bit sad to not have an interview ready to go. But we are going to say a huge thank you to every single one of our drivers. A huge amount of thank yous to the team and a huge amount of thank you to the admin. But the biggest thank you of them all has to go out to you, the guys in the virtual grandstands. Glad to have you guys here. It's going to be an epic one. Still so much to come. Tomorrow night, 8:10, we have got the RaceFace.Pro PokerBet GT3 Sprint Series on a set of Corsa Competizione. Prize money on the line as that, and drivers are going to be pushing themselves out of that comfort zone. Then on Thursday, we've got 8:10 South African time. We will have our RaceFace.Pro PokerBet GT3 Championship. Once again, lots and lots of prize money online there to be a part of it. Always great to see. Actually, we do have a driver that's popped in, and thankfully so, just to have a bit of a say there. So it's going to be great. Steven Kutzer to come in and have a chat. Steven Kutzer, welcome to the commentary box. Absolutely glad to have you. But what a race out there. Not an easy one in both Heat 1 and Heat 2. How are you feeling after that one? Definitely a tough time out there and really having to push the boundaries of how the race is going.
Stephen, yeah, it was a tough one, physical, but luckily we could pull it through. Some incidents in front gave us some freebies, but yeah, it was a tough race.
Well, it does help you out in trying to get a little bit further in the points as well. Watkins Glen, IndyCar, the removal of bus stop, your thoughts to that? Did it actually help in a little bit of the charge, or is it a little bit more of it was okay? What was your thoughts to that?
I preferred the bus stop, and also because I couldn't qualify at a qualifier ban for a boo-boo that I made in the previous race. So I thought with the bus stop, I'm quite good through there, so I could make a couple of positions. But luckily, the extended straight made it easier to pass guys. So it all went down to T1. Guy that connected T1 the best got the move. So yeah, no, it was. I think it was a good move removing the bus stop, but it's also fun to do the bus stop.
Fair enough. And you came into this race 5th in the championship. You've scored some valuable points. How are you feeling as we head towards, in 2 weeks' time, the grand finale at Sebring?
I'm excited for that one. I'm hoping I can get some good results there. Try and claw my way back to maybe the top 4. I think top 3 is out of reach, but maybe the top 4. So yeah, we'll see. Do a bit of practice and give it my best.
Going to be a monumental charge. Now, you're part of the Team Slowpokes Racing, and many people are going to be wondering what was the chatter, because I know that you were listening into the team, but the start of Heat 1 on the formation lap, when your teammates went into the back of one another, I'm sure there was a little bit of a giggle on your part of like, oh my heavens, guys, come on.
Yeah, it was quite funny seeing that from behind them, and I also locked up. They almost joined them in that pile-up, but luckily, being the great teammates they are, they gave me 2 freebies, so I can only say thank you from here on.
Thank you. Sorry for the, thank you for the fish, and sorry for the crash.
Yeah.
Well, absolutely great stuff there, Stephen, and well done once again. Phenomenal finishes here at Watkins Glen. You even took the fight to a couple of our pro drivers in the process. But before I let you go, anything you would like to say to our amazing partners here at RaceFace.Pro for Red Star Raceway, Scallywags Drift Academy, JDM, PokerBet, all being a part of the show? but also to our amazing petrol heads out there in the grandstands, cheering on day in and day out, being a part of it, and the race to the grandstands. Because I'm sure while you were traveling by at 300 odd Ks an hour, you could see those grandstands packed by our amazing virtual grandstands. Lots and lots of people from overseas going and viewing in, a lot of people from local here in South Africa, all going and taking a trip over to Watkins Glen and to see you and the rest of the team fighting it out.
Yeah, there was not an empty seat. I'd just love to say thanks for all the support, for the hobby and the community. I don't think there's another community in South Africa as dedicated to a niche hobby as sim racing. And also to the team, Slowpoke and EG Evolved for backing us. Having them on the way, not just selling stuff, but actually backing the drivers is amazing. And this league and the sponsors just makes it worth it.
So this is going to be a great one. Well done on the run, and well done to the team Slowpokes, but I think the Slowpokes need to have a little bit more lead in the car to count as a Slowpoke car for that one. But Stephen, go and enjoy the champagne. Well deserved out there, and look forward to seeing you in the grand finale 2 weeks' time at Sebring.
Thanks, Stephen, and to you too. Thanks a lot for the commentary and the effort you put into this league.
Absolutely incredible stuff. Thank you, Stephen Kutzer of Team Slowpoke Racing. Well, I've got to say, the racing itself has been incredible. It's kept everyone on their toes. I know I'm standing on the toes, getting ready to go and wanting to bite and get behind the wheel. And I am rather jealous of my co-commentator that will be behind the wheel tomorrow night, Tristan Herbs, and he will be broadcasting on Thursday. He will be able to give you all the highs and lows of what's happening and what to keep an eye out for. But, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that is that here for the RaceFace.Pro IndyCar Sprint Series Season 1, Round 5 here at Watkins Glen. Absolutely phenomenal stuff. Massive thank you to you all. Massive thank you to our partners in RaceFace.Pro. Absolutely incredible to have it here. And like always, a massive thank you from the THT Productions. My name is Stephen Koenig, and like always, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody. We'll see you next time. Hit that subscribe, hit that bell notification icon, and I'll see you at 8:10 tomorrow night. Well, let's see how that race is going to go. With all the amazing racing that comes to you weekly, we have to give acknowledgement to our sponsors. Without them, this would not be possible here at RaceFace.Pro. So starting off with our first sponsor, let's go and take your hats off to PokerBet. For all the tournaments, for all the cash games, daily free rolls, and sports betting, there's no better place to be and win with PokerBet. With it all revved up and you're looking for high speed, whether you're into drag, drift, or even long circuit, Red Star Raceway has got you covered. As we take a look off to all our machinery needs, head over to Oddendorf Machinery Mart. Remember to keep it slick with SA Lube, 20 years of Castrol distribution. Sliding in to keep you on your toes, Scallywags Drift Academy will keep you right at the top of the pack. And if you're looking for all your streaming needs, head over to Tenvo Tech for all the overlays. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's been an honor having you. We'll see you next time right here from the THT Productions.